She said she needed the ocean. Said the city was clogging her lungs and she wanted to breathe again. I watched her pack the night before the trip, folding swimsuits with this careless joy I hadn't seen in her in months, joy that wasn't for me. She danced between the bed and the dresser like she was rehearsing for a life I didn't belong to. Her phone lit up with a message while she was in the shower. It was upside down on the nightstand, just close enough to make my hand twitch. I didn't look. I wanted to. But I told myself if I looked, I'd cross a line that couldn't be uncrossed. That's how much I loved her, enough to choke down suspicion and call it respect. She flew out the next morning with Kelsey. I dropped her off at the terminal and she didn't even glance back. Just walked away with her totes swinging on her shoulder like nothing in the world could touch her. I watched her vanish into the crowd and felt something gnawing at me, a slow grind in my chest I couldn't name. For the first day and a half, she barely messaged. Said the Wi-Fi at the Airbnb was trash. Sent one blurry selfie from a rooftop bar. Kelsey's arm was in the frame. I stared at the picture for an hour, trying to convince myself everything was fine. That maybe I was just insecure. That this wasn't about trust, it was about me overthinking. But the details didn't line up. They never do when people are hiding something. Her beach day didn't match the weather report. The background of her brunch photo didn't look like Florida. On the third night, around 2 a.m., I got this weird gut impulse. Something just snapped in me. I got out of bed, pulled out my laptop, and started digging. I logged into the airline account we shared. My hands were shaking. Her return ticket was there. But the departure flight? It didn't match what she told me. She didn't fly to Miami. She flew to San Diego. I closed the laptop, sat in silence. My mind was loud as hell, like every thought was screaming over the next. I didn't sleep, didn't eat. I just waited, let it burn. I let it cook inside me because I knew if I didn't, I'd explode when she walked through that door. She came back Sunday night, smiling like she was in a movie montage. Hair curled, skin bronzed, eyes too bright. She kissed me with dry lips and said she missed me. I told her I'd carry her suitcase up the stairs. She shrugged. Said, sure, if you want. I brought it into the bedroom. Zipped it open slow. The first thing I noticed was the smell, not sunscreen, not ocean breeze, but some heavy cologne I didn't recognize. Her clothes were folded with military precision. That wasn't her. I dug deeper. Hidden beneath a layer of workout clothes was a tiny jewelry box, not new. It had that worn look like it had been opened and closed 100 times. Inside was a bracelet. Not the kind you'd buy for yourself. The kind you're handed across a table, fingers brushing in that deliberate way that leaves silence hanging in the air. She walked in just as I was holding it. We locked eyes. She didn't flinch, didn't gasp. She just stood there and blinked slow, like I was a child holding something he wasn't supposed to touch. You went through my stuff? She asked, calm as a goddamn whisper. I didn't speak, just stared at the bracelet, the fake gold catching the bedroom light. She sighed, like I'd ruined her evening. That's not even what you think it is. I laughed, not because it was funny, because it was insane how little she cared about hiding it. She walked over, took the box from my hand like it was hers, like I was borrowing something too delicate for me to understand. I don't want to have this conversation right now, she said. But I did. Oh, I did. I didn't move. Not even an inch. She turned her back to me, calmly walked into the bathroom, and closed the door like we were just another couple disagreeing about dinner plans. The sound of the faucet running was louder than it should have been. She was stalling. I stood there for a few seconds, the open suitcase still at my feet, the bracelet box gone from my hands like she'd wiped away evidence and expected me to pretend it was never there. But something inside me shifted in that moment. Not rage, not heartbreak. Something sharper, cleaner. Like a wire had snapped behind my eyes and suddenly everything about our life together looked fake, manufactured. A staged set built for someone else's show. I walked to the bathroom and knocked once. No answer. You're gonna talk, I said through the door. Now. She opened it slowly, towel in her hands, dabbing her face like she'd just survived something exhausting. I don't have the energy for this tonight, she mumbled. Can we just not do this? That was her plan, minimize, dismiss, deflect. I could feel it. She wanted to let it cool off, let a few days pass, and then spin a version that made me doubt what I saw. But I wasn't interested in versions anymore. Who was in San Diego? I asked, voice steady. Because it sure as hell wasn't Kelsey. Her eyes twitched. Just barely. But I caught it. Then she gave me that look, the one where the corners of her mouth tilt like she's about to say something brutally honest but wraps it in sugar to make herself the victim. You checked my flight? I did. She tilted her head like she was doing me a favor. Okay. So what? You're spying on me now. I had to spy, I snapped. You've been lying. Have I? She shot back. Or are you just inventing things because you can't handle the fact that I needed space? She said that with a straight face. Needed space. Like taking a secret cross-country trip and hiding jewelry from another man was just part of some healing journey she was on. I laughed again, but this time it cracked. You lied about where you were, who you were with, and came back wearing someone else's cologne. It's perfume, it's not yours. She stopped talking. That silence, for the first time, wasn't confidence. It was calculation. She was scrambling. Then she took a breath, looked me in the eye, and said it. Fine. You want the truth? I went to see someone, but it wasn't like you think. Oh no, I asked, suddenly calm. Then what was it like? Enlighten me. She smiled, actually smiled, like she was proud of herself. It was someone I used to know, someone I wanted closure with. Closure, I repeated. Did closure buy you that bracelet? I didn't sleep with him, she said, like that was supposed to fix it all. We just talked. We reconnected. And yes, he gave me something. But it wasn't romantic. I stared at her. At the makeup she hadn't wiped off completely. The curl still bouncing in her hair. The lie still stuck to her lips like lipstick. You went across the country to talk? Don't be dramatic. I took a step back. Let the weight of it all land. She was lying, still lying, and worse. She didn't care how obvious it was. This wasn't a mistake she regretted. It was a decision she felt justified making. Throw the whole suitcase away, I said quietly. Every piece of it. Because none of it's coming back into this house. She blinked. Are you serious? But I was already walking past her. Out of the room. I didn't slam the door. I didn't shout. I didn't throw anything. That would have given her a reaction to hold onto. Something she could twist into me being unstable. No. I gave her the one thing she wasn't prepared for, clarity. I didn't sleep that night. Didn't even sit down. Just paced the living room like a man trying to shake off a poison slowly spreading through his veins. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face. That smug calm she wore like armor, the way she delivered lies like they were harmless. And worst of all, the fact that she didn't flinch when I caught her. No panic. No shame. Just the mild irritation of being inconvenienced. Around 4 a.m. I heard footsteps upstairs. She crept down like a shadow, carrying a blanket and her laptop. She stopped when she saw me. We didn't speak. She just sighed like I was the one making things difficult. Then curled up on the couch opposite mine and opened Netflix like this was just another restless night. I watched her scroll through comedy specials with dead eyes, pretending not to notice me watching her. She wanted to act normal. She wanted me to cave. Instead, I stood up, went to the front door, and locked it from the inside. Not out of anger, out of finality. She looked up. What are you doing? Securing the exit, I said. Because once we talk, you don't come back in pretending nothing happened. She closed the laptop, folded her arms. Okay, you want a conversation? Fine, let's talk. I sat back down, leaned forward, elbows on knees. His name. What? The man in San Diego. What's his name? She smirked. That's your first question? You owe me at least that. She paused, then said, Darren. The name meant nothing to me, but the way she said it, with familiarity, with ease, cut deeper than any detail ever could. And how long has Darren been part of your closure journey? She rolled her eyes. You're making it sound dirty. It's not like that. Answer the question. She shifted, then finally muttered, a few months. There it was. Months. While I was out there scheduling date nights, planning our anniversary weekend, fixing the leak in the basement and paying her student loans. She was building this secret world, brick by brick, with another man. Why him? Why not? She snapped, suddenly defensive. We have history. He listens. He doesn't make me feel like I'm trapped in someone else's version of perfect. I clenched my jaw, steadying my breath. So now I'm the villain for being good to you? You're the villain, she said slowly. For not seeing that I needed something more. That line hit harder than anything else. Because for a split second I almost believed it. Almost convinced myself that maybe I had missed something. That maybe being stable, loyal, and grounded wasn't enough. But then I remembered the bracelet. The cologne. The lie about Miami. The look on her face when she got caught. And I realized this had nothing to do with need. This was about choice. You weren't looking for more, I said. You were looking for a thrill you could throw away when it got complicated. She didn't deny it. I'm not stupid, I continued. You didn't go there for closure. You went there to escape. And you only came back because real life doesn't let you play pretend forever. She stared at me, something cold flickering behind her eyes. Then she said, so what now? You want me to beg? Grovel? Pack up and disappear? No, I said. I want you to understand that this moment, right now, is the last time I ever let you explain away your betrayal. I stood up, walked to the stairs. Where are you going? To sleep, I said without turning. In our bed. You can stay down here and figure out where you're sleeping next week. Because you're not staying here. And for once, she didn't argue. I woke up to the sound of dishes clinking in the kitchen. For a split second, I forgot everything. My brain reached for the comfort of routine, of normalcy. I almost called out her name the way I used to on lazy weekends, like none of it had happened. Then it hit me all over again: San Diego, the bracelet, Darren. Her lies wrapped in calm delivery, her complete absence of guilt. I didn't go downstairs. I just sat at the edge of the bed, staring at the carpet. My phone buzzed on the nightstand. A message from Kelsey. Hey, can we talk? Please. My pulse spiked. I hadn't expected that. I hadn't even thought about Kelsey since this whole thing started. I debated ignoring it, but something told me to call. I wanted to hear her voice. I needed something from the outside to confirm I wasn't losing my grip on reality. She picked up on the first ring. I didn't know, she said before I could even say hello. Her voice was trembling. She told me we were going to Miami. She said it was just a quick beach trip to clear her head. She lied to me too. I said nothing. Just listened. I swear I didn't cover for her. I didn't know she was in San Diego until I saw her location pop up on my phone by accident. I asked her what the hell she was doing, and she told me to mind my own business. That landed heavy. She didn't just lie to me. She pulled her best friend into it and then discarded her like everyone else when it got inconvenient. I'm sorry, Kelsey whispered. I didn't know who else to talk to. I feel sick. Did she ever mention him before? I asked. There was a long pause. Yeah, she said finally. Once. A few months ago. She said she ran into an old friend online. That they were just talking. She made it sound innocent. But I think it's been going on longer than you know. How long? She mentioned him around Christmas. Christmas. That's when she said she wanted to spend the holidays just the two of us. No family. No parties. Just us in a cabin we rented in the woods. I remember she kept checking her phone when she thought I was asleep. I remember the weird texts she brushed off as work stuff. She was messaging him while I was planning to start a family with her. I thanked Kelsey. Hung up. Then I sat there in silence until the weight of it turned into fire. I needed answers. Not soft ones. Not the filtered, manipulative garbage she was comfortable feeding me. I came downstairs. She was standing at the sink, back to me, washing a single cup. Just one. Like she was the only person in this house now. We're not doing this in slow motion, I said. She turned. Doing what? This. You pretending to be calm. Me. Pretending I'm not seconds away from ripping every photo of us off the walls. I already told you everything. You told me what made you feel better. Now I want the rest. She stared at me. Then for the first time I saw it, the crack in her armor. She knew it was over. Knew that whatever leash she thought she had me on had snapped the second she underestimated me. She leaned against the counter, arms crossed. What do you want to know? Were you planning to keep seeing him? She didn't answer right away. Be honest. Yes, she said quietly. I didn't think you'd find out. And if you did? I thought maybe we'd get past it. You thought I'd stay? She met my eyes. Yes. That destroyed something in me. Not just because of the cheating, but because she had factored in my loyalty as part of her exit strategy. She knew I loved her. Knew I wouldn't walk without a fight. And she gambled on that, used it as a cushion for her betrayal. I don't even know who you are, I said, voice low. She stepped forward, just a little. I'm the same person I've always been. No, I said. You're who you always hid from me. And I meant it. Every word. She didn't argue with that. Didn't try to soften it. She just looked at me like she was trying to measure how much of me was left, how much damage had been done, and how much of me she could still control. The silence between us stretched long and sharp, the kind that makes walls feel like they're closing in. Then she broke it with something I'll never forget. You act like you've never disappointed me. It came out so smooth, so rehearsed, like she'd been waiting to flip the script the moment things turned against her. I actually stepped back, physically, like her words carried force. Like the weight of her audacity had a gravity of its own. I stared at her, trying to process what I just heard. You're really about to stand there, caught red-handed, and pull that card? She shrugged. You think this all came out of nowhere? You think I just woke up one day and decided to disappear on you? No, I said slowly. You didn't disappear. You planned it. You fed it, nurtured it, lied for it, hid it in plain sight. And you only cared when I caught you. She grabbed a dish towel and threw it on the counter like that was going to give her control of the room. You don't listen, she said, voice rising. You never actually hear me. You're too busy being perfect, doing the good husband routine, fixing faucets, remembering anniversaries, playing this role like it earns you points. That's what this is? I said, my voice steady. An act. If you'd been less obsessed with being the hero, she snapped, maybe you'd have noticed I wasn't happy. You had every opportunity to tell me. I shot back. But you chose to lie instead. Because being honest would have meant owning your part in it. And you don't do that. Do you? She didn't answer. That's what this whole thing was, I continued. You build a new version of yourself with him. No expectations, no responsibility, no reality. And you thought you could come back here and slide into your old life like nothing happened. It wasn't that calculated, she muttered. Don't insult both of us, I said. You knew exactly what you were doing. You're not confused. You're just mad it didn't stay hidden. She sat down on the arm of the couch like she was tired, like this whole thing was draining her. I didn't want it to blow up like this. Then you shouldn't have lit the match. I grabbed my keys from the table. I didn't even know where I was going yet. I just knew I needed air. Space. Anything that wasn't her voice spinning this into my fault. Where are you going now? She asked. To remind myself who I am without you. I walked out. Didn't slam the door. Didn't look back. Just stepped into the late morning sun, let it hit my face, and kept walking. Somewhere, in the middle of all that betrayal, all that noise, was the version of me she tried to bury under guilt. I wasn't letting her keep him. I drove for hours without a destination. Took turns without thinking. Ended up in a parking lot outside a diner I hadn't seen in years, the kind of place where no one knows your name, where the coffee tastes like burnt toast and the silence doesn't expect anything from you. I parked, sat there with the engine running, and let the silence wrap around me like a second skin. My phone buzzed 4 times in the glove box. I didn't check. I already knew who it was. I kept seeing her face, those eyes that used to hold warmth but now looked like mirrors reflecting back whatever she needed to be in the moment. I kept replaying the way she tried to make me the problem. The way she shifted blame like it was a coat that didn't fit anymore. And I realized something that made my stomach turn. This wasn't new. The little jabs she made at my routines. The way she rolled her eyes when I reminded her of something important. The way she always needed to be somewhere else when we were finally alone. It was all part of a slow unraveling she'd been orchestrating behind my back. Tearing out the stitches one by one, waiting to see if I'd notice. And I hadn't. Not really. I went inside, sat at the farthest booth, ordered coffee I wouldn't drink, and stared out the window like the answers might be out there somewhere. Maybe on the side of the highway, maybe tucked between the trees. The waitress asked if I wanted anything else. I shook my head. She left me alone. Then I remembered something that knocked the wind out of me. A month ago, Melissa, or whatever version of her I'd been living with, had asked me about resetting her phone. Said it was glitchy. I told her I'd handle it. She snatched it back so fast it startled me. Said she'd already fixed it. I hadn't thought about it since. But now it clicked. That wasn't a glitch. That was erasing. I paid the bill with cash and drove home on autopilot, mind running 1,000 miles an hour. When I stepped into the house, it was too quiet. She wasn't downstairs. The air felt heavy, like even the walls were holding their breath. I found her in the bedroom sitting on the floor with her laptop open, a half-packed bag next to her. She looked up when I walked in but didn't speak. Her eyes were glassy, dry, not from crying, but from staring too long at a screen trying to figure out what the next move would be. I didn't bother with pleasantries. You erased everything off your phone, didn't you? She blinked. Excuse me. When you told me it was glitching, you wiped it clean. You made sure there was nothing left to find. She hesitated just long enough for me to get my answer. You think I wouldn't figure that out? I was trying to protect both of us, she said softly. Protect? I laughed, sharp and humorless. You mean cover your tracks? You mean destroy any truth that could have slipped through? You weren't protecting us. You were protecting yourself from the consequences. She stood, crossed her arms. I was scared. No. You were strategic. Calculated. You made 100 tiny decisions that all added up to this exact moment. Don't stand there now and pretend you tripped into it. Her mouth opened, then closed, like she wanted to fight but couldn't find the angle, like the weight of her own web was finally settling on her chest. I never wanted it to end like this, she said. You mean you never wanted to be caught? Silence. She looked at the bag. I was thinking about going to stay at my sister's. Good, I said. Do it. Go. She picked up a sweater, folded it, placed it in the bag like it mattered. Like folding clothes gently would make the lies less sharp. As she zipped the bag, I watched her closely. Not the way a husband watches his wife, but the way you look at a stranger who walked into your house wearing your partner's skin. You know what the worst part is? I said. She paused. I was proud of us. I bragged about you, defended you, loved you so loudly the whole world could hear it. And you? You whispered someone else's name while I was building a life for us. Her hand froze on the zipper. She didn't look up. I turned and walked out that I didn't sleep again. I lay in the guest room, staring at the ceiling, listening to every creak of the house like it was whispering back the truth I'd ignored for too long. The clock glowed 3:14 a.m. My body was exhausted, but my mind was sprinting laps, replaying conversations, rewriting moments, trying to trace where love turned into convenience for her, and where I became just another background detail in a life she was planning to escape. By morning, her bag was gone. No note, no text, no door click. She vanished like smoke, and the silence left in her place was the loudest thing I'd ever heard. At first, I thought I'd feel relief, freedom, but instead, I felt this hollow ache, not for her, but for me. The version of me that had believed in her so deeply, defended her so blindly. That version died quietly when the door shut behind her, and the man left standing in that house was someone colder, wiser, and infinitely less forgiving. I spent the morning packing her things, not out of spite, but because I needed every square inch of her removed from this space. Every reminder burned. I pulled her clothes from the closet, found an old photo tucked between sweaters. Us on the pier 2 summers ago. She was leaning into me, arms around my neck, grinning like the world belonged to her. I stared at it for a full minute, then dropped it into the trash bag without a word. It wasn't nostalgia anymore. It was evidence. A timestamp of the lie. That afternoon, she finally called. Not to apologize, not even to explain, but to ask if I'd seen her charger. I answered with a silence that made her repeat the question. Then I said, "Your charger's on the table, next to the life you walked out on." She exhaled into the phone like I was being unreasonable. I didn't walk out. I just needed space. You lied, Melissa. You created an entire second life and expected me to stay loyal to the fake one. You don't get to call that space. Her voice sharpened. I made a mistake. No. A mistake is forgetting to call someone back. This was a campaign. You planned it, covered it, protected it, and only admitted it when it caught fire. She was quiet. Then she said the one thing that finally killed whatever flicker of hope I didn't even know was still there. I think you just want to punish me now. My jaw clenched. I don't want to punish you. I want you gone. There's a difference. That was it. That was the line that finally broke the spell. She wasn't sorry. She was cornered. And she hated that I didn't give her a way out where she still looked innocent. She hung up. I stood there, phone still in my hand, realizing how quiet the house finally was, and how right that quiet felt. Later that day, I changed the locks, not because I was afraid she'd come back, but because she no longer belonged here. Not in the doorway, not in the kitchen, not in the photos or the air or the past. This wasn't her home anymore. It was mine. The locks clicked into place with a sound that felt final. Not dramatic, not angry, just done. I watched the locksmith test the keys, hand them to me without small talk, and drive off. I stood there on the porch, holding a new reality in my palm. She texted that night. Not about us. Not about the mess she left behind. Just 3 words. I miss you. I didn't answer. She missed the comfort. She missed the man who never asked questions, who paid the bills, who let her rewrite the truth without consequence. She didn't miss me. She missed the version of me that made her feel safe while she betrayed everything we built. That night, I went into my bedroom for the first time since she left. The air smelled like her still, faintly, like perfume soaked into the mattress. I opened every window. Let the cold in. I stripped the bed, threw out the sheets, changed the pillows. I wasn't cleansing the room. I was burying what was left of her. I found something, though. In the back of the drawer she used to keep clutter in, loose change, lip balm, hair ties. There was a folded piece of paper. Old. A letter, dated almost a year ago. My name on the front. But it wasn't from me. I read it. It was from him. Darren. His handwriting was neat, precise. He called her his star. Told her he couldn't wait until this part was over. He signed it soon, always. I stood there for a long time just holding it. My fingers numb, not from the cold, but from what it meant. This didn't start a few months ago. It had roots, deep ones. All the while, she played the devoted wife. Kissed me goodnight. Laughed at my jokes. Let me plan our future while she had one foot out the door and her hands around someone else's promise. I took the letter downstairs, lit the stove, watched the flame turn it to ash. She texted again the next morning, "Can we talk in person?" I stared at the screen, heart hammering in my chest, not because I missed her, but because I didn't. And that scared me more than anything. How fast the switch had flipped. How fast betrayal calcifies where love used to be. I replied, "Sure. 1 hour. Public place. No performances." We met at a coffee shop 5 miles from the house. I picked a corner booth. She walked in wearing the coat I bought her last Christmas, the one she said made her feel expensive. She looked the same. Almost exactly the same. Except the confidence in her walk wasn't real this time. It was a mask and I'd learned how to see through it. She sat down across from me like we were just 2 people catching up. Like this wasn't the aftermath of an earthquake she caused with her own hands. "I've had time to think," she began, eyes locked on mine. "And I just want to be honest with you now." "Go ahead," I said. "Lie to me honestly." She flinched. Just slightly. Then composed herself. "I was unhappy," she said. "But I didn't want to hurt you. Darren, it wasn't supposed to become anything real. But it did." She nodded. "I know. And you kept it going. You watched me wake up every day next to you and chose not to say anything." "I was scared," she said again. "No," I said. "You were selfish." Her jaw tightened. "So what now? You hate me forever?" "No. Hating you would mean I still care that much. I'm past that. This isn't about revenge or punishment. This is about clarity. I see you now. Not who you pretended to be." Her face dropped for a second. Her mask cracked. She looked tired. Small. Like the act had finally caught up with her. I thought we were strong enough to come back from this, she said quietly. No, I said. You just thought I was weak enough to stay. She didn't answer. For the first time since this all began, she had nothing to say. No spin. No half apology wrapped in manipulation. Just silence. I watched her blink, slow and deliberate, like she was trying to find the right words, but every one tasted like defeat. The same mouth that used to whisper love to me across pillows was now just a mask that couldn't shape a sentence without collapsing under the weight of the truth. I let the silence stretch. Let her sit in it. Because she needed to feel it. Really feel it, not just the awkwardness, but the depth of the wreckage she left behind. She looked down at the table. I thought you'd always be there, she whispered. I didn't think I'd ever lose you. That was the most honest thing she'd said yet. And I believed it. Not because it was romantic. Because it was cruel in a way she hadn't even realized. She took my loyalty and carved out her comfort with it. Wore it like armor while she entertained fantasies on the side. She didn't think I'd leave. She thought I'd absorb it. Like always. You didn't lose me, I said. You threw me away. You just didn't expect me to land on my feet. She looked up sharply, like that stung. It should have. I'm not proud of what I did. I don't care if you're proud, I replied. I care that you were willing, that you made one selfish decision after another and hoped I'd be too blind, too loyal, too in love to see it. Tears filled her eyes then, not because she was sorry, but because her power was finally gone. Whatever version of me she thought she had wrapped around her finger had burned in the same fire she started. And now all that was left was me. Clear, grounded, unshakable. I don't expect you to forgive me, she said. Good, I replied. Because I won't. She nodded, but her hands were shaking in her lap. I don't know what to do now, she said softly. You do, I said. You just hoped I'd help you do it. And with that, I stood up. I didn't make a scene. I didn't look back. I left her sitting in that booth, in the coat I paid for, sipping from a cup I knew she didn't even like. And I walked back into the life I was finally reclaiming, not the one I built for us, but the one I now had the freedom to build for myself. I got in my car, closed the door, and smiled. Not because I was over it, but because I finally knew I would be. It's been 3 months. The house feels different now, lighter. Like every lie that used to cling to the walls has finally let go. I replaced the furniture, got rid of the photos, painted the bedroom a new color just because I could. Not to erase her, but to reclaim it. Piece by piece, I took everything that used to remind me of us and made it mine. And in the silence that followed, I found something I didn't know I was missing: peace. Not the kind that comes with distractions or denial. The kind that shows up late at night when you're alone and you realize you're not angry anymore. Not broken. Just done. She texted a few times after that day in the coffee shop. Always careful, always rehearsed. Hope you're okay. I've been thinking about things. I miss the way you used to look at me. But the truth is, I don't miss her. I miss who I thought she was. That's the cruelest part of betrayal. It's not just the person you lose. It's the version of them you built in your head, the version you defended even when the cracks started to show. And when that version dies, it takes part of you with it. I never responded to her messages. Not once. Because every word would have dragged me back into the wreckage. And I was too busy walking out of it. I've started running again. Reconnected with people I hadn't talked to in years. Took a trip alone, something I never thought I'd enjoy, and sat by the ocean with a notebook full of thoughts I didn't even know I needed to write down. Not poetry. Not letters to her. Just truth. Raw and unfiltered. And somewhere in the middle of all that, of rebuilding myself from the inside out, I came to a conclusion I never expected. She didn't destroy me. She revealed me. She forced me to look at my own blind spots. My tendency to romanticize people who don't deserve it. My addiction to loyalty even when it's not returned. She made me see the cost of giving someone all of you before they've proven they deserve any of it. If I could go back, I wouldn't warn myself. I'd let it all happen again. Because now I know how much I can take. How far I'll bend before I break. And that I won't stay broken. So if anyone out there's reading this, sitting in the wreckage, wondering if they'll ever feel whole again, here's what I'll tell you. You will. But it starts when you stop waiting for closure from the person who hurt you. It starts when you choose yourself, fully and unapologetically. She's gone. Her lies, her excuses, her performances. And I'm still here, standing, living, free.